Tonight, the city of Lagos waits agog as all routes
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV News.
24-hour news station.
It's a beautiful Sunday here in Lagos, and it's really lovely to have you join us again on your ultimate news and current affairs program, Core Digest, live from Core TV News here in Lagos. How's your day going? Hope that you're fine, enjoying where you are on the way to where you're going. You know, if you are out there under the sound of my voice, I want to say a big congratulations to you, because it's the first day of another new month. Now we're talking about the 6th month in the year 2014. Congratulations, you're alive, because about 4,000 people die every minute in the world. So it's a rare privilege that you are alive. But the big question is, what do you make of life and what do you make of time? I'm joined now by Tolu Otiewumi. Good afternoon, Tolu. How are you today?
I'm doing very well.
First, let me say congratulations for being alive.
Yes, a big congratulations. It's the last month in the first half of the year. You know, when you're in a football match, the first half is just as important as the second half.
Okay.
And you know that usually when people are about ending the first half, they're more serious. I imagine someone out there thinking, well, the goals and aspirations I started January 2014 with are not yet completed, you know. And then you're thinking, how am I going to end the year? Well, you have an opportunity to begin again. You know, a month is a big time.
You know,
it's a lot of
it
time
brings
for
to
you
mind
achieve.
the euphoria of a new year. Everyone goes to church to mass a day before, you know, the dawn of a new year. And it kickstarts the year with this new year resolution. Everyone basking in that euphoria. Oh, it's a brand new year, it's 2014. But then you notice that the energy and the zeal you started with from the first day of the year begins to dwindle. And then today, as we mark the beginning of the 6th month, people are far away from the dreams that they set from and the goals they set in the first day of the year.
Nifemi, you know what I call such people? I call them January people. A lot of us start January with a lot of goals. I want to lose weight. I want to achieve something, a particular thing. I want to get a new degree, another degree. I want to get married. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to start saving. And then, you see, people getting so serious first and second weeks of January. By the third week, they've lost the zeal. So, you know, they're January people. But then by February, they forgot about the goals altogether. Then by March, they are thinking of something else. By April, then they think, first quarter is gone. What am I going to do in the new year? But then, again, you have an opportunity to begin again. It's the 1st of June, and you cannot just wait by and let June go the way January to May.
You don't need to wait for another January in 2015 to kickstart. And I think that's the magic of living life one day at a time. It's the opportunity of nature. You sleep very tired at night, and then you wake up early in the morning rejuvenated. It's just nature. It means that there's an open script, there's a new leaf open to you, and you can kickstart again. Now that brings to mind what happens today across 193 countries under the purview of the United Nations. It's Global Day for the Parents.
That's it. Well, there could be different things being celebrated today. Some say it's World Communication Day. It could be anything being celebrated today. But the one we are particular about is the one that's been declared by the United Nations. Yes, it's World Parent Day. And I must say this, everyone is a parent. Everyone is a parent.
Even whether you have a child or not.
Yes, it depends on what you're parenting.
You look like a parent anyway.
I am a parent. It depends on... What are you getting at, Nifemi? Well, it depends on what you're parenting. Everyone has a child. Your child is either a boy or a girl or a job or a business, whatever it is, you're a parent. But in this particular case, we're celebrating parents with children, boys or girls.
I know that brings to mind the spirit of Africa, the community of one for all and all for one. You see, a child in the typical African nation is raised by the whole community.
That's it.
Unfortunately, modernization and civilization has taken over. You know, you build a house and then you fence it all around. You don't know your neighbor and all of that.
That's a British culture.
And it's pervading everywhere here today. But then at the same time, we must not forget where we're coming from. We must not lose touch with ourselves.
Our roots.
And, you know, we can bring all of this to bear with the security challenges we're facing in Nigeria, the fact that people do not know who is who. People do not care about their neighbors. People do not care how a child is faring. People do not care the values and the traditions, you know, that remain the core of us as a people, and we keep losing touch with that every day.
And you know the sad thing, Nifemi, once you start doing that, once you start caring for your neighbor too much, quote and unquote, people begin to feel you have an ulterior motive. They begin to think, what's the need for him? What's the need for her? What was he trying to achieve with this? Where is she going with that, you know? And that brings us to what we want to talk about today, which is blackmail in the military. Military blackmail. 14th of April, 48 days ago exactly today, over 200 girls were abducted from the government girls' secondary school in Chibok, Borno State. And there has been so much noise about it, so much concern, such that it has generated global concern and attention. And yet people are saying, some people are now saying it's about blackmail in the military. You know, we're just trying to play the devil's advocate here. And that's the spirit we're talking about.
You know, the amusing and amazing thing about it, Tolu, is that spirit of oneness that greeted, you know, the news of this abduction.
I was surprised.
I mean, the first day the hashtag hit Twitter, we're talking about 4 to 5 million, you know, people tweeting within the first 4 or 5 days. It shows that we've moved beyond. Of course, we can be building houses with fences in Nigeria, but the truth is we're living in a global world. I mean,
we're a community.
We are a global community. I listened to the British Prime Minister making a case for the release of these girls at the floor of the Parliament, and he was so zealous, he was so passionate, he was so articulate. If you ask me, more articulate than the leadership in Nigeria.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But that reminds me too of the passion with which Michelle Obama addressed the whole world about these girls. And I was feeling, are they her daughters? You know, it was so emotional, it was so passionate. And if you haven't caught the bug yet about these Chibok girls, I dare say you don't know what's going on in Nigeria. Nigeria is not the focus of the world. Nigeria is not a global attention, not because of anything about new age, not because of a new invention, not because of an industrialization that's to come.
Not a made in Nigeria product.
After the 17th and 18th centuries industrialization. No, not at all. But about human life, about the sanctity and the sanity of human life, and of course, about the future of this country called Nigeria.
Our focus today is a new twist to all of it. The defense headquarters alert the nation of a plot by some interest groups to embark on a renewed campaign aimed at attracting international condemnation and indictment of the Nigerian military and its operations in northern Nigeria. Blackmail. The danger signal coming from the military. Now, I want us to kickstart from here, Tolu.
Yeah.
We had insurgency. It started with pocket of violence, pocket of bomb blast here and there, and then it graduated into abduction. You know, initially it's just 1, 2, 3, but then we had over 200 girls abducted in northern Nigeria at once. And then recently we heard about the assassination. Do I call assassination? Well, of course, we've noticed that a traditional ruler in northern Nigeria was also caught in the fire. But then...
in the same state, Bruno.
In the same state. The same state that is under an emergency, an extended emergency rule as we speak. But then we're talking about the role of the people, the public, you know, in this fight against insurgency. It kick-started with a protest here and there, and then there is a continuation. But listen to this. A renewed campaign attracting international condemnation and indictment of the Nigerian military is saddened.
Now, let me read this to you. This is coming from a senator. Now, this could interest you. I'm very much elated by the news that the location of our girls is now known to the army. But like the rest of the nation, especially observers, I'm puzzled by one phrase. According to the military spokesman, their location is a military secret. He said now. That's coming from the senator, one of the senators that Chukwumerije, that's been very vocal about national issues. Well, you want to think that if our intelligence in Nigeria is working, there will be two types of information they want to serve us, the public. One is the classified information, the one they want to keep to themselves for security reasons. And then there's the other one we call feedback. We have the right to feedback. Do you understand? We should know what they're doing. We should have an update of what they're doing. You know. And then Chukwumerije is now saying he's actually puzzled by the statement that their location is a military secret.
Yeah, well, you recall that what Alex Bade, the Air Chief Marshal, said. You need to look at it from two perspectives. One, from the content of the statement, and two, the context of the statement. Because that was going to be one of the first times that we had a pro-government protest in Abuja. And then all of them came out to speak. And for the first time, we're hearing good news that we know where the girls are, but we can't tell you. We'll find out the location, but for the sake of military secret, we cannot tell you. Of course, Alex Bade is under a lot of criticism and under a lot of knocks to
Are you surprised about that?
Not really, but I am of the opinion. You recall that there was an aborted presidential visit to Chibok, which many said could have brought some hope, you know, some relief to the parents of these girls. And I think that if that is coming, you recall that is coming, that came a day before Children's Day in Nigeria. Well, if you ask me as a concerned inhabitant in Nigeria, I would say that it's a good news. It's just that it came with a lot of ambivalent feelings. Okay, we know where they are. Now, he now continued from there and said, we can't use force because we want to bring the girls back safely. So one would wonder what alternative is open now if we can't use force and we can tell you where they are.
Now, Nifemi, the chairman of Nigeria Senate Committee on Education, Senator Uche Chukwumerije, has said this. But then I think we all understand what's going on in the military. They cannot diverge all the information. That's what I said earlier. That there are two types of information. One is the classified, and then the other is feedback. Okay, so the classified will forever remain classified for security reasons, and that will keep helping our intelligence gathering. And then the feedback is the one we will get to be updated about from time to time on our news bulletins and all of that. Now, the other time you expressed concern about the fact that Air Marshal Alex Bade, the Chief of Defense Staff, has been under fire about this cause. I'm not particularly surprised because everything rises and falls on the leadership.
It does, but at the same time, we must express a little bit of caution.
This is Nigeria. See, I'll tell you something about Nigerians. Nigerians are very quick to react to in the wrong ways. Where we should major, we do not major. We minor on the major and we major on the minor.
You recall a show by Brownson Around Africa where he played a song specially done for Bring Back Our Girls. I was surprised to see white people on the video. But then a day after the First Lady had, what's it called now? A conference.
That show.
Someone did a song on it. Someone, we take pleasure in getting comic relief out of our situation.
Whatever the First Lady did or said shouldn't have been given that attention in that direction.
In that manner.
In that direction. Do you understand? I think we should have looked at the content, not the expression. The content mattered more than the expression. We should look at the public concern, the topic before us. We should look at the issue that we have to deal with, and we should learn as Nigerians to start dealing with issues without sensationalizing them.
Without sentiments, you know, as well. There's been a lot of political coloration to all of this issue, and that's exactly what the Nigerian military is saying.
And again, very quickly too, Nifemi, we Nigerians are usually in the habit of passing the buck. We like to look for someone to blame when something goes wrong. At the end of the day, they've forgotten that the Chief of Defense Staff himself is a Nigerian and a parent. And I'm not sure he's happy with the development either.
Apart from being a military man, he's also a Nigerian. Now, look at what they're saying. They're saying that it must be emphasized that the dastardly acts of terrorism are against all Nigerians and all peace-loving people all around the world. No amount of propaganda by apologists of terror group can justify the evil acts of terrorism by attempting to cast the Nigerian military and security forces in bad light. But I think that the Nigerian military at this critical point in time of our national history needs some public help. They need some public hype. It's like going to war. It's like you are in a combat with somebody and you need some psych. That's why there's a stadium when there's football.
You need a backup.
You need some fanatics shouting your name at the back. And I think that if we are indeed at war and Nigerians are interested in what is happening in northern Nigeria, it is obvious that it's a Nigerian problem. We must tackle the issues. Now, of course, we should also be more how can I put it now, observant and look at how political heads are taking these issues. Because we're counting down to 2015. We must now begin to differentiate between people who really have the unity of this nation at heart. You know, of course, there's been a lot of, unfortunately, it has degenerated into trade of blames, like, you know, you made mention earlier, between a particular party and the other party. I mean, we are asking, let us unite together to fight this issue headlong and win this war against terrorism.
We're saying this because there's been a public outcry recently that some people, some political money bags, so to speak, are sponsoring audio visuals or sponsoring protesters to go make audio visuals to blackmail the Nigerian army. And I'm thinking, it's quite unthinkable that within all of this, with all the over 200 girls, 236, so to speak, 48 days not yet found, and the global community is concerned about this. Everybody's making a
not
noise
to mention
about
the thousands of people who have died in this cause.
In this course, you know. And then what some people could think about is that some money bags, some politicians somewhere in some northern states under extended emergency rule are sponsoring protesters to go make placards, to go make audio visuals to blackmail the army. It's unthinkable.
But then, you know, unfortunately too, this thing has also taken a totally different dimension. Just May 29, a few days ago, Nigeria celebrated 15 years of democracy. Now, one of the tenets of that is the rule of law, the freedom of expression. And I think that's the beauty of what we've seen in Nigeria thus far, the Bring Back Our Girls movement, what some have called the Red Revolution. Unfortunately, we've seen people who partake in this protest meet certain opposition, even from, you know, Nigerian security forces. Now, one would question, why can't they protest? Why can't they express their minds? At the other side, you know, administration, the federal administration is saying that this protest has been hijacked. So we are more like in between the devil
and the Red Sea,
the Red Ocean, if you like. But then the bottom line here is that Nigerians must take their destiny in their hands. We must be able to differentiate between issues, content, and context, and ask the real questions, motivate leadership into practical success.
That's it.
In this issue.
That's it. Now, Nifem, you just reminded me of the Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended in 2011, talking about the fundamental objectives and the directive principles of the state policy. Now, Section 14 of that Constitution, 1999 as amended in 2011, talks about the fact that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria. Do you understand? So, at the end of the day, we should understand that we will have our say and we will have our way. That
doesn't sound like what people will say, that the majority
will have their say.
We have their way.
Will have their say, but the minority will have their way. You know. But then, in this, see, that's a popular saying, and I understand where that is coming from. But you see, when the chips are down, at the end of the day, the people, the majority, the masses, will still both have their say and have their way. And that's what you're seeing in the protests, because at the end of the day, we should learn to look away from the messenger and look at the message itself, not who is saying what, but what is being said.
And you know, most importantly, I think that Nigerian people require a paradigm shift in our thinking. You know, it's not just about getting out to vote on election day. We must make our leadership accountable.
Yeah.
For instance, now, close to a quarter of the 2014 budgetary allocation is going to security. The Minister of Finance recently said about 130 billion naira has already been spent in the first quarter of the year. We must ask questions.
Where did that money go?
Where did the money go? In the middle of all of
the
these,
money achieved?
certain quarters in the Nigerian military are saying we're underfunded, we're not well motivated. Don't forget about the mutiny when Nigerian soldiers were shooting at the GOC. I mean, that's unthinkable. That's not done anywhere in the world. Nigerians must wake up. We must be more alert. We must ask questions. We must make leadership accountable. Because, you see, when we point accusing fingers to leadership, we must not forget that these people are not foreigners.
They're part of us.
I mean, they answer our names. They are from our villages. Some people will say every nation has the kind of leaders or leadership that it deserves. So we must go back home, you know, restructure, and then before we launch back, we must ask questions and we must table these discussions and bring them to book, now, to answer.
Nifemi, the point you just made is beginning to awaken a question within me. Could this be one of the reasons why the majority of Nigerians have been deliberately made illiterate? Is that why there's very little funding in education? Is that why we do not want the masses to be able to afford basic education? Is that why the government hasn't been forthcoming in providing the universal basic education to the average Nigerian, so that you cannot ask the relevant questions, so that you cannot stand up for your right, so that you cannot cry out when there's a need for such? Could that be the reason? You place it side by side with the UNESCO 26% benchmark allocation for education, which Nigeria has never met, but of course there is a remarkable increment immediately after the ASU 6-month strike 2013. Now, last year the needs
as well,
assessment brought about that.
The UN also came up with that research that Nigeria has the highest number of children, of out-of-school children, and of course possibly the highest number of illiterate adults. Now, all of these as a role, all of these do have a role to play. The insecurity challenge we're being faced with in northern Nigeria is as a result of ignorance.
That's it.
Is as a result of illiteracy. The fact that some people who do not have access to quality education could be brainwashed by a particular ideology, by a particular sect of people. And all of these are issues that must be resolved. We must get back to the basis, to education, to principles that guard this nation. That is where Nigeria came from. Nigeria started when certain Nigerian people got out of this country to get good education and came back home and said, wait, the Berlin Conference in 1845 was a joke. We must take our destiny in our hands, and then that was where it started from. The real revolution is not when we carry sticks and go to the street to fight. It starts within the four corners of our educational system. Now, another dimension to it is the four corners of our home, which serves as the basis of every society. That's why we're calling on parents today, which is the Global Day of Parents, to ensure that we bequeath that quality of life, that quality of our tradition, our core virtue that makes us Nigerian and African to the next generation.
And that reminds me very quickly, too, of what the president said recently, that we should begin to inculcate in our children moral education. And I think that's the kind of leadership we want to see in Nigeria.
He actually said that should be inculcated into the academic curriculum. But I think that beyond that, beyond what has been taught in school, our children learn first and foremost
from home.
From home, you know, and what they see in leadership. Every young Nigerian now, you ask them what do you want to become, they say, I want to become a chairman of a local government or a senator. Why? Because so that I can have my own part of the national.
You know what happened was some time ago, a man came to his child's school to complain about the fact that the boy was very disobedient, was stubborn, wasn't listening, wasn't well behaved at home. You know, and then. You know what the teacher said to the man? There are 24 hours in a day. They come to school 8 in the morning, close at 2. That's about 6 or 8 hours. Okay, out of 24 hours, they spend not more than 8 hours in school. And they spend their rest 16 at home. That means you're having your child what you deposit in him at home.
It's all right. That's our show for today. For the 7 days gone already, abducted girls still nowhere to be found. I keep saying that even if you step out of the comfort of your home and you stay in a 5-star hotel, as long as it's not your home, there's this, uncomfortable feeling that comes with it. And there's another clarion call on leadership, upon whose shoulder lies the responsibility of welfare and security of the citizenry to do what is expected in bringing back our girls. And not only that, you and I are stakeholders in the security situation of this nation, and we do hold our roles
to play.
Around
of this way, responsibility is a combination of 3 words: response to my ability. The global community is waiting for Nigeria to rise to this challenge and make sure that we make something positive in finding these Chibok girls. So let's rise to our responsibility. Let's respond to our responsibility, to our abilities. Happy Global Day of Parents.
And let's do that now. My name is Nifemi Oguntoye.
I'm Tolu Ojewumi. Good afternoon. Thanks for watching.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as weak, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.